This is my collection of Märklin Museum wagons. They're souvenirs that you can buy at the Märklin Toy Museum in Germany. I've already done a review on this channel of the museum wagon from 1990, and this collection here ranges from 1991 through to 2012. There's only a couple of ones that I'm missing. That is 2006, 2009 and 2010. I don't know why I never managed to pick those ones up. The reason I'm doing this video is I'm actually going to be selling all of these wagons to help fund a new project. And I thought it'd be really cool to go through each of these and show you what's inside. 1991 marked a change in the offering that Marklin had. Previous to that, it was just a wagon that you got. From 1991 onwards, you got a wagon with a vehicle as well. And they made for really attractive souvenirs and quite interesting model railway items. So there's a lot of models to go through, and I hope you're going to enjoy having a look at them as well. Many older Marklin boxes have this problem where the plastic goes a bit yellow. This is the only one in my collection that has done that. And Marklin hadn't yet devised a proper box for these museum models at this time, because you can see that this is just a sticker that's been put over a coach box, which is number 4277. You can just see it underneath there. So they were still trying to figure it out at this time. Anyway, let's get this box open and we'll check out the models inside. So it's a really cool barrel wagon and a little truck. I do love these barrel wagons. You'll see as we go through that Marklin are highlighting different companies in Germany. This one's obviously a wine producer, and we have these barrels on this little wagon with the brakeman's cab. Some fantastic decoration on this one. Rather crude wheels by today's standards, and this is actually for 3 rails, so this will short out a 2-rail setup. It says Marklin made in Western Germany underneath, and this is probably an older chassis with probably just some new decoration on this model for this release. The brakeman's cab actually doesn't have a door on it, but you can see that it has a seat inside there, and it only has a ladder on one side as well. But it's really nicely decorated and the barrels look quite cool as well. This truck makes an appearance quite often in this range of models. It's a fairly simple model, but it is actually made of metal, and the printing on it is really good as well. And it's got a nice red chassis too. You can see it's actually made by Marklin. So that's 1991. Let's move on here to the next one. 1992, and it's Mercedes this year. We've got a truck in this one and some information about the Mercedes 10 years of Betrieb. I don't quite know what that means, or even if I pronounced that correct. And we've got a tanker wagon, which is meant to be carrying diesel. This box, they've got a sticker on the end. You can see another Marklin logo there ghosted in the background. So the box is probably just a generic one with this sticker put on it. Anyway, let's get this open and we'll check it out. So in this set we get a little flatbed truck. We also get a fuel tanker and a little piece of metal with this printed on it. I don't know why they've included this in the set really. You'd think maybe it'd fit into the flatbed truck, but it doesn't. It's slightly too big. So I'm not sure what this is meant to be. So this little truck again is made by Marklin. It's got a really cool wing mirror up here, and it's not a bad little model. Unfortunately this one's missing one of the lights, which is broken off in the past, which is a shame. And this tanker wagon has been produced many times in different liveries. This one looks pretty good though. It still says made in Western Germany underneath it, and again it's fitted with 3-rail wheels. Very nice spoked ones on this though. And the brakeman's cab has doors on both sides. It's even got this little tap on the side of the tank, which is a great little extra part put on, and I really like the handrails on this. So it's quite a neat looking tanker wagon, this one. Anyway, let's go on to the next one. 1993 now, and we have a truck with a load and we have a brown box van. This box does have some sticker damage on it, and we still have the stickers applied on the end here, but we now no longer have the ghosting of the Marklin logo in the background, so it looks as though they've managed to sort that out. Anyway, let's get this open and we'll take a look. So now we're advertising L Wacklers. We have 2 of these which look like planks of wood, and we have 2 barrels as well. You'll notice that the truck is significantly bigger now. I guess this is more in scale. The other ones seem to be a bit small. It's a very similar design though, and it has a tarpaulin cover which can come off. The printing on the side is really good as well, and the tarpaulin's actually quite cool too. And this wagon is quite cool as well. There's a lot of detail on it moulded into the main piece of plastic, little handrails on the corners, and lots of wording printed on it as well. You've even got metal handrails going up to the brakeman's cab, and the doors open as well. Underneath, a slight change, it now just says made in Germany, and we have NEM pockets here as well on these cantilever couplings. It's still 3-rail wheels. They are now burnished, so they're not really chrome. I love how the brake gear is in line with the wheels already. So nice little set, this one. Let's move forward a year. So it's 1994 now, and we've got a very similar wagon to the last one, but it's much brighter in this, and we have more of a load as well. Again, the box has got the sticker on the end, so let's get this open and we'll check this one out. So we even get little piece of paper here showing how to load the truck with the barrels. And the barrels are actually made of wood. They're not plastic. That's pretty cool. The truck we get in this one is very characterful. It's a 1903 model, chain driven there as well, with the little chains moulded in, and a great little steering wheel and little lamps at the front. It's a fantastic little model, this one. And this box van has been used for loads and loads of breweries, and this is no different here. Underneath it still says made in Germany, and we have NEM pockets and cantilever couplings as well. A little bit of rust on these wheels, but it's not too bad. Nice metal handrails going up as well to the brakeman's cab at the top, and that double roof as well looks really good. So it's a nice little model. So let's get on with the next one. 1995 now, and we have Carl Gentner. This is much brighter than the other ones. Really looks quite good in the yellow. And this box is looking in pretty good condition too, and again it's got the sticker on the end. So let's get this open and we'll check this one out. So in this one we have this really attractive truck, and this model makes an appearance a few times in other years. The printing on this is absolutely fantastic, and I really like the logo on there. It's made out of metal and it's got a plastic roof and a plastic front grille. Now this tanker wagon we've already seen in different livery. This one, Carl Gentner, looks really good. Lots of interesting details on it. And again, NEM pockets, cantilevered, 3-rail wheels. You're getting to see a pattern here. But there's a lot of interesting parts on this tanker, and the silver and yellow really looks very good. In 1996 we got this model, which is a paper company with a truck with some loads on it. Again, the generic box with a sticker on the end. Let's get this open and we'll check it out. So this one actually comes with the original sales receipt, and you can see it was purchased in November 1996. The truck this time has a paper load, and unfortunately this piece over the top, which is made of metal, is starting to rust, and that's because this is actually made of real paper, and it's causing some oxidization of the metal. But it's pretty cool that they've given it a real paper load. It's the same truck that we've seen a few times though, and this van gets around a lot as well. Opening doors on this one, really good printing on it, a lot going on there. And it's a nice grey colour as well, with the handrails made in metal again. And we've got NEM pockets too, and 3-rail wheels. So the fact that they've got real paper in here is quite interesting, but it isn't actually working out in the long term. That's a bit of a shame. This could be doing with taking off and repainting. So if you were thinking about buying this one off me, then you're going to have a little think about the rust that's on here. So 1997 now, and we have another barrel wagon with a truck with some barrels in it, and the same old sticker on this generic box. I won't go on about that anymore. Anyway, let's get this open, we'll check it out. So I think this is one of the best sets here. It's got this really great looking open top truck with the barrels on the top, which are made of wood, and they come out quite easily. And it's got the printing down the side there and little gold accents in plastic, but this is actually another metal moulding from Marklin. And the barrel wagon has got 3 on it this time, each of them with little taps, which look really cool. And this model has got a running board the whole length of the wagon. It's got a great brakeman's cab. But one of the things noticeable here is that these barrels are actually made of wood as well. So it's a really cool little wagon, this one. So 1998 now, and we've got this really nice looking blue wagon here with a truck with what looks like some sacks as a load. So let's get this out and we'll check this one out as well. So a really good looking wagon here, and we have the truck as well with a really convincing load of sacks on the back. One of the things here though is that these tyres are actually made of rubber, and they're extra pieces that have been put onto the wheels, which is really cool. A nice little truck, this one. And this wagon now, it feels a bit more modern than the other ones, and you can certainly see that in the chassis. We've got the newer Marklin logo there now. The printing on this is absolutely fantastic, especially the gold of the little logo on the doors, which also open as well. Brakeman's cab at this end, but this wagon is actually very light. It could be doing with some weights in it, but aside from that it looks really quite cool. So we're on to 1999 now. This is one that is actually quite easy to pick up. I guess a lot of people went in 99 and bought this set. You get a grey wagon and a red truck. So let's get this open and we'll check this out as well. You might have noticed as we've been going through so far that all the companies advertised on these things are from Göppingen, I think that's how you pronounce it, in Germany, which is where the museum is. So it's like they're promoting local companies, which I find really quite cool. This is a slightly different model than what we've seen so far. It's a variation on a theme, but it looks pretty cool. It's got this little sun visor here, and the printing on it is really good as well. It's a plastic roof with this extra, I think it's an air vent on the top, and some other plastic parts added. Again, it has the rubber tyres on the wheels. It's really cool with the bars on the window there as well. And this is another light wagon, but it's very richly decorated here. No opening doors on this one though, and a grey roof with some extra pieces on top. It could definitely do with a weight, this one, but it does look pretty cool and there's a lot of nice detail on it. It's very characterful. So we're into the 2000s now with this model from the year 2000. It's a hopper wagon and we have this little yellow truck. So let's check this one out as well. So it's obviously a quarry and company for this one. We have this really fantastic vintage dumper truck here, which is open air as well. Some great printing on the side and rivet detail. And we have this really convincing load which can come out as well. Really does look like rocks in there. And it's a metal chassis again. This is really quite a fantastic looking model. And in the bogie hopper it also looks really good. You can see things how the bogies are attached to the plastic chassis in that they're just little stud fixings. But this is actually quite heavy because it's got this big weight in the bottom here. Some really nice handrails added on as extra pieces on the side. The printing's really good as well. We've still got metal handrails at the end here beside the brakeman's cab. But there's some fantastic details like on these buffers which are really quite finely moulded. The wheels are spoked as well and they've got these really delicate bogies. So this is a really fantastic looking model, I think. It could have probably been doing with a load just to hide this moulding mark here, and it's quite annoying it's got a moulding mark on top of the brakeman's cab as well. But that aside, this is a really good looking model. 2001, and there's quite a lot going on with this model. There's various different bits and pieces inside here. It's a bit of a shorter box, but I think you're actually going to get more with this one. So let's get this open as well. This is quite an unusual model. We have a little leaflet here showing how to put together the press that's the load on this wagon. And we have this little bag of stanchions that you can add on to the wagon to keep the model in place. Without them, it just moves around like this and can come off quite easily. So this is actually all made of metal and it just goes together like this. It looks quite cool actually. And we've got this part that carries that onto the wagon. It does have a little bit of the paint worn off here from the top part of the press, but it does look really good with its wood effect. And we've got this bogie flat car, which has got a really detailed deck on it. Brakeman's cab at this end with some wire handrails going up to it. It's got the same bogies as we just saw on the previous hopper wagon, but they do look really good. And underneath here we've got some bracing as well, which is really finely moulded in plastic as extra parts. We even have cantilever couplings on this in NEM pockets with the mechanism hidden inside the model. The base is actually made of metal as well, and it's got some really good printing down the side of it. So this is actually a really fantastic model and something really different and interesting. 2002, you get this long box with quite a large box fan inside and obviously a truck with what looks like a champagne bottle. This again is a very common model. I guess they got a lot of visitors in 2002. Let's get this open. So obviously the truck is not meant to be realistic because it's got this crazy big bottle on the back of it. It's a little flatbed version of the truck that we've seen before, again with the rubber tyres. But now we've got this Kessler bottle on the back and it looks really quite cool. I do like the kind of see-through effect here of the plastic to make it look as though it's made of glass, but it actually isn't, it's just a plastic moulding. And it's a rather large box wagon this time, again with a brakeman's cab. Something a bit weird going on here in the vents. Not quite sure that's meant to be like that, but it's got really fine writing. And underneath we're starting to see a more modern style of production with this nice flat black colour. Really fine bracing moulded in here and these steps, so it's quite a delicate model and there's not much weight in it either. I think the brakeman's cab could have been a little bit better. You can see through the windows and it doesn't look too good inside. But apart from that, this is quite a nice wagon, and I like the fact it is longer than the normal kind of wagons that you get. So 2003, we get a different truck and an open wagon with what looks like a wire load on it. So let's get this open as well. So the star of the show here, I think, is definitely this truck. It's actually made of metal, so it's quite heavy, and it looks really cool as well. It's such an unusual prototype, and it has this crane on the top here, which moves around. It's made of plastic. It's got a little jib there as well, and a little piece of wire holding it in. We even have rubber tyres as a spare one at the back, and underneath as well. And the printing on it is really good. We've even got the lights picked out in white at the front here, and the grille in silver. It's a really cool little model, this one. The wagon is a fairly simple open wagon with a brakeman's cab, but what is really cool here is the load, which comes out quite easily. But this is actually made of real wood, and it's got real wire there as well, and it's got printed the logo, the Carl Stahl, which I guess must be a wire manufacturer. There's a bit of glue here holding the wire in. I guess that was needed, but it is quite incredible that you're getting a model with actual real wood and actual real cable as well. The open wagon is a fairly basic model that Marklin has produced. You get millions of these. Nothing unusual here. But the two items together really make for a pleasing model, and that load is really something quite special. 2004 is quite a long box because we've got this really interesting model inside, a very similar truck to the one we've just seen, and this very unusual tanker wagon. So let's get this out and we'll take a closer look. So this set is very unusual and very eye-catching. We have a MAN truck here, it's quite a long one, very detailed on the grille here and with the lights as well. The main body here is made of metal. We have a removable tarpaulin top with some really good printing on the top there. So a very unusual truck model and a very unusual wagon model as well. These tanks look really fantastic stacked up here. Some great printing on it. And the frame wagon is good as well. It's got the brake gear as separate pieces that have been added in. Lots of detail here as well. And we've even got metal NEM pockets. The brakeman's cab, not absolutely fantastic, but not too bad at all. But this wagon really stands out in how unusual it is. It's a really cool model, and this one is probably one of the most unusual ones that you see in this range. 2005 now, and we have another long box with two really cool models in. They're both in this green colour. Let's get a closer look. So it's obviously a flower grower because we actually have some flower seeds in this set. I don't know how well these are going to grow because this is actually 19 years old, this set now. But it's so cool that they've added in these extra pieces. We have this box truck now. This is very heavy actually because it's all made of metal, and it's another Marklin model. It has an unusual colour underneath, but a metal chassis, some extra plastic parts fitted in, but the radiator grille's been picked out there, looks really good, and the printing on it is fantastic as well. But it has a really unusual look to this truck, but it does look really good, and the fact that it's all made of metal, and it's still got these rubber wheels, and yet it still has rubber tyres on it with tread as well, and the wheels are made of plastic and they revolve really well, but it's pretty cool, this model. The railway wagon, by contrast, is super light. I don't know why they didn't put a weight inside this model, it really needs it. But it's very nicely decorated, the printing is really good. We've got a different colour of door with the flowers printed on it, and this door opens as well. Underneath we now just have Marklin written there, it doesn't say made in Germany, and we have cantilever NEM pockets. These ones aren't made of metal though, they're just plastic. All these models seem to have the brakeman's cab, no glazing though, but this is a pretty good model overall, just lacking a little bit of weight. That could be easily remedied. So now we're on to 2007, and this one has probably the worst inner packaging of the lot, because the statue of David that we've got there, for some reason, just rattles around inside the box. And I think the frame has actually broken a little bit on this. So let's get this open and we'll take a look. So pretty unusual, this one having a statue of David here. We've got some stanchions in this bag here to add onto the flatbed to keep the load in place. And we also have this wooden frame as well. Unfortunately, it has actually lost a piece in the corner here. We get this really cool looking MAN truck, a great looking bed on the top there. That's a piece of real wood that's been put in there and it looks really good. The printing isn't so good on the side of this truck, but overall it's looking pretty good, and it still has the rubber tyres. This flatbed wagon is very heavy. It's made of metal with a plastic deck, and it's got plastic railings at this end. The bogies attach really strange that they are not connected in the middle, they're a little bit off centre. The Marklin logo is stamped into the bottom of the metal there. This is actually made of metal, but I don't think it is bronze, I think it's just been painted this colour. So I think it's meant to go together a bit like this. It's a very unusual model, and it's quite cool that you get a statue of David with it. 2008, and we had a more sensible barrel wagon with a truck. So let's get this one open as well. So this certainly seems a bit tamer than the previous year's model. We've got this really nice looking truck. What a great looking front bonnet this has got. And great looking headlights and these little wing mirrors sticking out here. And it certainly looks like quite a cool looking little truck. The barrel wagon again has actual real wood for the barrels on top, which have got this nice printing on them. It's very colourful, this wagon, and a lot of nice printed material on it. The chassis isn't as good as the previous barrel wagon we had a look at, which is more like a frame. This is more like a standard chassis. And of course we have the brakeman's cab as normal. So it's a fairly decent barrel wagon, but I don't think it's the best one we've seen in this collection. So we've jumped forward now to 2011, and we have this set, which has got a very similar truck and a wagon that we've seen before. This time it's decorated slightly different, so let's get this one open. So this time around we have a leather manufacturer, and the truck here is a very nice cream colour. It is the same model as we've just seen, so the front of it is very similar, but we have a flat bed on this one which is made of metal, and it's got a plastic chassis, the same wheels and tyres as we've seen already. Then we've got these really cool wooden frames with actual real leather on them in 2 different colours. And they fit neatly into the back of the truck, which really makes quite an interesting little setup. The wagon is very similar to the blue and silver roof one we've seen a little while ago. This time it's in brown, but it does have a bit more decoration, especially down here on the chassis. It's a fairly decent moulding, this one. Lots of deep relief and nice rivet detail and planking, and it's got this really quite extensive printing on the middle panel and on the door. The doors don't open, but that printing does look really ambitious, and I think they've pulled it off decent enough here. It's another light wagon though, there's not much weight here, so you might want to add some weight into this model if you want to run it on your layout. So this is the last one in the collection. It's 2012. Thanks for sticking around to the end. This one, obviously mink bursting. You can see the logo on it. Looks very eye-catching. So let's get this one open as well. So this model has a number of stanchions to add on to the wagon that haven't been fitted. And we've got the same flatbed truck that we've just seen in the last model. This time we've got a tarpaulin cover, and that can come off quite easily. But it does have the logo really well printed on it, and it's got even more printing on the side of the door. It's a great colour combination, this one. And then when we turn to the railway wagon, we see something really odd here in that this container is actually just a block of wood with some fabric wrapped around it. You can see that underneath where it's been stapled on, and also in the corners where it's been wrapped. It has the Mink Burston logo printed on it. Pretty well done, I think, considering this is a piece of fabric, but it's a very strange thing, and it doesn't quite fit that well into the wagon. It's not too bad, but it needs a bit of a push to get in there. The wagon though has got a lot of detail moulded into the plastic. It's quite a good looking wagon, this one, for being just a flat wagon. And it's got a simple chassis, again cantilever couplings. But it is quite light, and I don't think there's any provision to add weight into this either. So you're really relying on the weight of the piece of wood on top of it. This one is quite an unusual setup, and it's not to everyone's taste, this container. I think possibly this is meant to be like this. I reckon this company is probably making fabric, but it does look a bit odd going round on the track. And that's it. That's my collection of Marklin Museum wagons. I think these are very collectible items, and they're all a bit different and unique, and each of them has got their own little character and distinct quirky things about them. It's a great range to collect, and like I said, all of these are going to be going onto eBay to help fund a new project that I'm starting. I hope you've enjoyed looking at all these models. I've certainly enjoyed having a last look at them before I sell them on to the next lucky owner. So if you liked this video, please give it a thumbs up. It really helps this channel grow. And on screen in a moment, there'll be a link to another video. Just click on that and I'll see you there. That's it for this one. Thanks for watching all the way to the end. See ya.